Hey guys, it's Kristen and welcome back to the Gold Project. In today's video, I will be sharing with you my 2016 book review, and then I will be sharing my 2017 reads. Now, last year at the beginning of 2016, I did this video within my 2016 goals. And I must say that that video ended up being way too long. So when I was doing my editorial calendar for the beginning of 2017, I decided it would be best if I broke up that goals video and made two separate videos. So if you haven't checked out my 2017 goals video, I'll make sure to put that link in the description below. So this is just going to focus on books and reading. Now before I get started, I will mention that if you don't follow me on Instagram, make sure that you follow me. I'll put my username down here, because especially if you're interested in what books I'm reading throughout the year, because anytime I start a new book, I will post a picture of it and I will tell you kind of like a little brief review, or if I liked or disliked the book that I read prior to that one. So we're going to start right now with talking about the books that I read in 2016. Now, in case you aren't familiar, I used to not be a reader at all. I hated reading. And then at the beginning of 2015, I made it my goal to read a book a month. I thought if I can just read one book a month, that would be great. Well, it turned out that I not only read one book a month, I was reading multiple books during a month. And I think I finally realized what type of style of books that I actually like. And I also realized that the reason why I wasn't liking reading all the way up until that point is because I was choosing the wrong books. If you do not like a book, put it down and move on to the next one. I've had to do that several different times because I was just not feeling the book. Now, enough with my rambling. Let's get to the books that I read in 2016. The Silent Sister by Diane Chamberlain. And I'm sorry if I pronounce these names wrong. I don't really know how to pronounce the names, but I'm going to try my best. Then we have The Storyteller by Jodi Picoult. The Forgotten Garden by Kate Morton. The Lady's Room by Carolyn Brown. The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. 19 Minutes by Jodi Picoult. Can you tell that she is one of my favorite authors? Winter Garden by Kristen Hanna. Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. I think that's how you pronounce it. The Two Family House by Linda Cohen Loigman. The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. Reconstructing Amelia by Kimberly McCreet. The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I read The One by Kiera Cass. The Elite by Kiera Cass. And The Selection by Kiera Cass. And I think I just went backwards. So the first book of that series is The Selection. The second one is The Elite. And the third is The One. Okay, so those are the 17 books that I read in 2016. And now I'm going to share with you the top 3 books that I enjoyed the most. Okay, my third favorite book of 2016 was The Forgotten Garden by Kate Morton. And you guys, Kate Morton has become one of my favorite authors. If you watched my goals video for last year, my second favorite book of the year was The Secret Keeper by Kate Morton. Still ranks in my top 2 favorites. So if you've not read that book, I definitely highly recommend it. I recommend it to anybody that's asking for book recommendations. So this book... And you guys, when I realized that I loved The Secret Keeper so much and I was looking for new books to read, I wanted something new by Kate Morton because I loved that book so much. And I saw The Forgotten Garden. Now I'm going to read you the back just so you kind of know what the story is about. It says a tiny girl is abandoned on a ship headed for Australia in 1913. She arrives completely alone with nothing but a small suitcase containing a few clothes and a single book. She is taken in by the dock master and his wife and raised as their own. On her 21st birthday, they tell her the truth, and with herself shattered and very little to go on, Nell sets out to trace her real identity. Her quest leads her to Blackhurst Manor on the Cornish coast, but it is not until her granddaughter, Cassandra, takes up the search after Nell's death that all the pieces of the puzzle are assembled, a spellbinding tale of mystery and self-discovery. So this book is one that goes past and then present. So it goes back and forth, and you kind of have to piece the story together and make sure that you're remembering things. But this is a very heartfelt book. So as soon as I read that a little girl was left on a ship, nobody knew who she belonged to, and she set out to find out who she was, I immediately knew that I wanted to read this book. One of my favorite authors. And I like the mystery type of books where you have to pay attention. And normally when I read a book, I will take notes so I don't forget names and little important details that I might otherwise forget. So I highly recommend reading this book. My second favorite read for 2016 comes from another one of my favorite authors, and it is The Storyteller by Jodi Picoult. Now, you guys, if I had to pick one part of history that I find the most interesting, it would be the Holocaust era. And this deals with that. It is a heart-wrenching story. Let me read the back, but it was a very big page turner for me. And it really put in perspective what these individuals that were put into concentration camps and, removed from their family, what they went through. I mean, it was very detailed. And I mean, there was a lot of times when I would read pages, I would actually read the information to my husband because I just could not believe that the things that they put those people through. But this is a fiction book, but things like this happened during that time period. Now it says Sage Singer is a baker. She works through the night, preparing the day's breads and pastries, trying to escape a reality of loneliness, bad memories, and the shadow of her mother's death. When Joseph Weber, an elderly man in Sage's grief support group, begins stopping by the bakery, they strike up an unlikely friendship. Despite their differences, they see in each other the hidden scars that others can't. Everything changes on the day that Joseph confesses a long-buried and shameful secret and asks Sage for an extraordinary favor. She says yes. She faces not only moral repercussions, but potentially legal ones as well. With the integrity of the closest friend she's ever clouded, Sage begins to question the assumptions and expectations she's made about her life and her family. In this searingly honest novel, Jodi Picoult gracefully explores the length to which we will go in order to keep the past from dictating the future. So this is another book that goes from present to past. So you kind of I had to take notes over it, but it really doesn't give you a whole lot of the backstory in this book, just from the back of the book, because I don't think they want you to give away any of the book. But just let me tell you, it goes back and it goes through what individuals went through during the Holocaust era. And I cannot rave about this book enough either. So make sure, if you've not read this, that you put this on your 2017 reads list. And my number one read for 2016 was a huge surprise. I'd never read anything by this author until this book. And I've not seen any reviews on Amazon or anywhere else that it had a perfect 5 out of 5 stars. So when I saw that this book had 5 out of 5 stars, I thought, I know I'm going to like it because it seems like everybody else has too. So before I share this book, I will tell you that I've only had 2 books that have made me cry at the end. The first one was Leaving Time by Jodi Picoult. It was my third favorite from last year. If you've not read that one, I highly recommend it. I plan on going back and reading it again because I loved the story that much. I remember last year standing in my shower, tears rolling down my face because it really got to me. Now this one was the next one, and it is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. Oh my goodness. This book I cannot put into words. So it is definitely up in the top 2 books that I have read. And I'm going to read you the little cover of this book. I don't do very good about summarizing up books without telling you the whole story. So that's why I'm just reading the covers for you. In a quiet village, Vianne Morick says goodbye to her husband Antoine as he heads for the front. She doesn't believe that the Nazis will invade France, but invade they do, in droves of marching soldiers, in caravans of trucks and tanks, in planes that fill in the skies and drop bombs upon the innocent. When a German captain decides to live in Vianne's home, she and her daughter must live with the enemy or lose everything. Without food or money or hope, as danger escalates all around them, she is forced to make one impossible choice after another to keep her family alive. Vianne's sister Isabel is a rebellious 18-year-old searching for purpose with all the reckless passion of youth. While thousands of Parisians march into the unknown terrors of war, she meets Gaetan, a partisan who believes the French can fight the Nazis from within France, and she falls in love as only the young can completely. But when he betrays her, Isabel joins the resistance and never looks back, risking her life time and again to save others. With courage, grace, and powerful insight, Kristen Hanna captures the epic panorama of World War II and illuminates an intimate part of history seldom seen, the Women's War. The Nightingale tells the story of 2 sisters separated by years and experience, by ideals, passions, and circumstances, each embarking on her own dangerous path towards survival, love, and freedom in German-occupied, war-torn France. So this talks about 2 sisters that are completely different and how each one battles during the war in different ways, but they're both heart-wrenching and hard journeys at the same time. You see how Vianne goes without food for months, what they have to go through to get little morsels of food. I mean, you see Isabel actually enters the war as a woman. So you're going to see both of these women. You're going to get their stories, and it is just a fantastic book. So if you have not read this book, I would read it next. Go out and purchase it now. Go to the library because you will not be disappointed. So you guys, those were my top 3 reads from 2016. And now I am going to share with you the list of books that I plan on reading in 2017. Now, I only have a list of 12 because my goal for 2017 is just to read 1 a month. But if I read all of these, I will go back and add to them. So just follow me on Instagram so you know what I'm reading and what I plan to read in the future. And I usually ask what y'all are reading and what recommendations you have for me because I write them all down. This list right here for 2017, I have been working on probably since the summer. I will add books, I will change them, and I think I've got a pretty good list that I am really excited about tackling this year. So I am going to go through all of these 12 books and pop up a picture here. Now, the book that I will be starting first is one that I've actually posted a picture about that I was supposed to start in December, but with my kitchen remodel and with all of Christmas and all that, I did not have time to start it. So that book is called What She Knew by Gilly. And I did not write down the last name, so I will put it right down here, the name of the author of this book. So that's what I will be reading first. Then I have Truly Madly Guilty by Leanne Moriarty. I did not read any books by her this year, but I read, I think it was 3 in 2015, so I'm excited to read a new one by her. The Rosie Project by Grammy Simpson. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I apologize for that. Number 4 is Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. So I definitely wanted to read a new book by her. I kind of went through all of her books that she had published already, and I chose one that looked like it would interest me the most, and that was the one. So I'll be reading Firefly Lane in 2017. And some of these were recommended by me by some of you guys and some people that I know personally, so that's why some of these have made the list. Number 5 is The Perfume Collector by Kathleen Tesoro. Number 6 is The Wedding Dress by Rachel Hawk. 7 is Orphan Train by Christina Baker Klein. 7 is Small Great Things by Jodi Picoult, and that is probably one of the books I'm most excited about to read in 2017. I have been waiting to read that. When it came out in 2016, I wanted to buy it, but I was like, no, I need to just wait because I have so many other books that are on my list. Number 9 is The Shack by William P. Young. I have been told by my aunt that I needed to read this book, and then I saw a preview for the movie that's coming out in March, so I actually have that book, and I will be reading it after What She Knew. Number 10 is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Now, this was a book that I loved in school. Back when I was in high school, I actually had to read it. But you guys, I've kind of forgotten what the story was about, so I just kind of want to go back and have a copy for my library and reread it, just to get the bits and details that I missed back in the day. Number 11 is I Am Pilgrim by Terry Hayes. And then last but not least is The Distant Hours by Kate Morton. And you know I had to throw one of Kate Morton's books. So I try to make sure that I at least read one book by my favorite authors. So you guys, that is why that you see the books in there from Leanne Moriarty, Jodi Picoult, Kate Morton, and Kristen Hanna. And you guys, that is all for this 2016 book review and my 2017 upcoming reads. I would love it in the comments below if you would share what you are currently reading or some of your favorite books. I am constantly adding new books to my Amazon wish list. I hope you give this video a thumbs up, and I hope you subscribe if you haven't done so already. I hope y'all have a fantastic week, and until next time, bye you guys.